Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of AMA Air. I'm Chris Savage.
And I'm Erin Dobbs. We're going to take a look at the many generations of flight a little bit later on, as well as visit a local hobby shop to find out what it takes for someone to get started in RC.
That's right. But first, we've got some news to catch you up on. Last week, AMA representatives traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with officials from the Federal Aviation Administration and continue their ongoing negotiations around regulating unmanned aircraft systems in the national airspace. Government Relations Representative Chad Budreau spoke with us about that meeting.
So as many of our members know, we passed the special rule for model aircraft in 2012, and the FAA announced their interpretation of what that means. And we have some disagreement on that. So we're working to resolve those disagreements threefold. One is we are working directly with the FAA. Our hope is that we can resolve a lot of these issues, and we have. Or we found some middle ground with education and how you can use model aviation in the classroom. But there's still some disagreements, and we're working to resolve that, again, with the FAA with this most recent meeting, and we're making progress. We're going to continue to push the issue through Congress, and of course we have our petition with the U.S. Court of Appeals. So this does take time. It is a slow process. We appreciate our members' patience, but just know in meetings just like most recently, we're going to continue to push the issue forward.
This year, the AMA Foundation has accepted nearly 200 model airplanes and model aircraft items to be sold to benefit AMA programs. The first group of items is now for sale at the AMA Foundation's new eBay store, RC Resale. Money from sales will directly benefit the AMA Foundation, which helps the Academy with programs designed to preserve, enhance, and promote the hobby of model flying. You can visit the RC Resale store by visiting stores.ebay.com/RC Resale.
AMA's Flying Site Assistance Coordinator, Tony Stillman, has reported that 2016 was a very successful year in helping clubs around the country open new flying fields. With the help of AMA's Flying Site Assistance Program, 10 clubs regained their site or opened a whole new site altogether, and many more are in the process of achieving a similar outcome.
That's right. Clubs like the Arlington Eagles in Stanwood, Washington, the Athens Model Airplane Club in Athens, Georgia, and many more benefited from the Flying Site Assistance Program. Acquiring, opening, and maintaining a flying site is no easy task. These sites provide a safe place for hobbyists to gather, relax, compete, and just have fun. One of many benefits of the AMA membership is access to the resources available through the Flying Site Assistance Program. If you or your club have a question about flying sites, we want to help you. Call us at 1-800-I-FLY-AMA or email fsac@modelaircraft.org.
Getting started in RC can be an overwhelming process. There are just so many choices in aircraft and equipment, and it's hard to know where to go for good information. We recently stopped by Toys Forever Models and Hobbies right here in Muncie, Indiana, to learn what benefits a local hobby shop can provide to the aspiring RC pilot.
I think hobby shops are important to all pilots because it gives you a point of contact to talk about the aircraft that you're interested in. Even if you've been doing this for a long time, there may be some new technology or some new equipment that you may not have experienced, and that's where the hobby shop staff comes into play, and they can talk about those things. There's some good information out there, but there's a lot of information out there, and on the internet, it's about culling through some of that a lot of times. We've really tried to find where the good information is and go to reliable sources like manufacturers or the Academy of Model Aeronautics that can really get us the right information, so hopefully we can pass on the correct information to a pilot that's trying to figure a problem out. Almost every budding pilot comes in wanting to fly a P-51 Mustang or fly a full collective pitch 3D helicopter, because that's what they've seen in some online videos, or they've been to a field and seen some of that going. And I mean, it's really, really neat, and that is some exciting things. But a lot of times we have to tell people, you can't fly that, so we're really not interested in selling you that airplane. But let's talk about, let's say, a hobby zone apprentice or a sensei or something that's going to get you started, because we say that we're interested in your long-term success. Then it's a matter of getting you into a trainer-style airplane, hooking you up with a local AMA club so you can probably have someone that can help you learn how to fly as well, not just leaving you on your own. That's the idea. They want to get a good value for their money. and they're afraid of taking this airplane and taking it out and blasting it into the ground. I mean, I think every pilot's had that sentiment, so they know what it feels like. But what we talk to them about is that it doesn't have to be that way necessarily. Again, the resources with AMA clubs and other local flyers, as well as the hobby shop, we can help build that success in there. So that's one element of it, is really getting people comfortable with it. This is something you can do. One of the things that when I first started learning to fly, in fact, actually learned a lot on a simulator, was learning the technique to land. And it was repetition of that technique. It was, I know I can take off and I can probably fly it around. I might be able to do a loop and a roll, but can I get it back on the ground safely? And that's one of the most fundamental skills you need as a pilot, is landing the aircraft successfully in a safe manner. So practice that and make it a point to yourself to every day practice 3 or 4 landings. Or every time you take off, practice you're gonna land. And then you get good at that skill. And so it translates then to me when I'm out at the field. I see other pilots struggling with their landings, things like that, and I tell them, sometimes I come out here with, say, an apprentice, and I spend a half an hour just taking off, making one lap around the pattern, and landing. And then do that over and over and over. And then once you get used to that, then as you go into some of the aerobatic maneuvers, you use the same technique. You practice that maneuver over and over and over to hone your skills. And I think that's where the simulator comes in, is using it as a tool as opposed to some of the game elements. Everybody I've met in my years of working in a hobby shop or at the field or whatever, everybody is interested in you flying successfully. Talk to someone who is already flying. Get a hobby shop owner, another pilot. Use that to your advantage. They're there for you. There's no stupid questions. They want to help. So use that resource.
If you're starting to explore model aviation or know someone else who is, you can read more about how to get started in RC in the winter 2017 issue of Park Pilot magazine, or by visiting www.theparkpilot.org.
So many of our members have rich histories within the hobby, and many are not the first in their families to be modelers.
We've talked to many folks who share stories of flying with a parent, a grandparent, and friends over the years. These stories have been both captivating and heartwarming, and we thought it would be great to share some of them with all of you.
GenerationsOfFlight.com is a new website devoted to showcasing you, your love for the hobby, photos of flying, and stories of time spent with family and friends. We're collecting photos and stories from across the U.S., and each month we will feature a story of the month that best represents our shared love for the hobby of flying model aircraft.
Today, we're going to share with you our first Generations of Flight Story of the Month. John Midgordon sent this in. A friend gave me a model airplane kit when I was 10, and it changed my life. From then on, I was hooked. My goal was to become an aeronautical engineer, and in 1955, I graduated from Iowa State with that degree. This photo is of me and my dad, my faithful pitman, while I was in high school in the late 1940s. I competed in U-control contests around Iowa. These are a couple of early speed models, one with McCoy 49 and the other with an Olson 60. At 85 years young, I'm still very active as an RC flyer.
Thank you so much to John for sharing his story with us. Be sure to visit GenerationsOfFlight.com to see so many more stories just like John's. And next month, we'll share another story with you here on the show.
Well, before we go, we want to make sure you know that AMA Expo East is just around the corner.
That's right. Be sure to come out to the Meadowlands Exposition Center in Secaucus, New Jersey on February 24th through the 26th. We have an awesome speaker lineup including astronaut and AMA ambassador Hoot Gibson, as well as dozens of wonderful vendors for you to check out.
You can find more information and get your tickets at amaexpo.com today. Well, that's all we have for this episode of AMA Air. If you have a story that you'd like to share, visit air.modelaircraft.org and tell us about it by sending us an airmail.
And if you're not already a member of AMA, visit modelaircraft.org and sign up today.
Until next time, so long everybody.